talking about the IoT connected devices like Ayush is here, so you know that how much important the data we are collecting it, and it's not about the data is not only stopping there, so collecting the data, how you're effectively utilizing it, that is where coming into the picture. Let's keep the presentation aside, so let's keep more interactive. So how many people are here have your birth record data? So this is very important questions. So there are a few doctors used to ask, have you have your birth record data? So I don't think more than 80% don't have the birth record data. What is your born rate? So most of the people who born 1980s or 1970s, they don't have the birth record data. But there are when I was visited one of the doctor, they asked me, can you please give me your birth record data? I told I don't have. But the question was asking, have your house agreement or home sale deed, which is 100 years before, 50 years before, why you're not managing this data? So the problem here is that managing the data of this particular medical record is becoming a challenge for last few years. But now, recent years, that all this help of the data collection, IoT devices, internet has provided the leverage to keep the data. So that is how it is. So how the data is getting its growth is nowadays, when we see this, we see the market for this data power is healthcare data power application is actually drastically booming, and we see the market rate is becoming more than 200 billion in 2030. Okay, so here is very important topic which I want to highlight here is that this is where we are trying to reutilize the data for multiple use cases. Okay, so what is de-identification of data? So most of the people will know that, so I'm giving the data, so whether this data can be misused. Okay, that is where a lot of people used to think. A lot of people never feasible to give. A lot of people have this ABA currently, but how many people are utilizing that ABA records here? Because we are not giving the ABA, and most of the hospitals and EHR and EMRs are not mandatoring that particular ABA records because they feel that it's not proper regulations and something like that. But nowadays it's becoming more regularity. So we support a lot of companies for compliances, especially like HIPAA, like DPDPA in India. So there are a lot of regulation has been changing, and I think it's evaluations. It will take some time to make it more regularity, but we are getting into that layer. Okay, so coming to this de-identification data, so we are supporting for a de-identification data as well. So we have some kind of layer which can remove the basic identification of the data which we collect from multiple devices, and we use it for the research purposes. This is absolutely fine. Even a lot of companies and a lot of standards has been using it, and we have the regularity. If you have a proper way of using it, it absolutely can be possible. And this helps a lot of research institutes. For example, the recent research says that one of the data which is being collected from IoT devices helps for one of the cancer patients. So these kind of data needs to be shared. So what is the takeaway here is that, right? So we don't want to fear about the data can be misused, because that is very important. So we randomly give Aadhaar card, but very rarely we use share this medical record. It's absolutely that government has been taken care, especially when you talk about the regulation. It's been strict now. So market size. This is how this data collect. Market size is very important, right? So I come from a cloud background. I work for a lot of data storage companies, and which we used to deal with a lot of data. Okay, so we see that the data growth is approximately 175 zettabyte, which is this year, which is tremendous, so you cannot even imagine how the data growth is coming in. So because each and every component is start generating the data right now. Okay, so what we are here, so there are a few, today the panelist was talking about a lot of preventive health checkups, how we are going to support it for the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. That is only because we can able to have this data can be utilized in multiple layer. We can able to collect the data, and we can give them a very accurate medical care for them. So we support in multiple preventive healthcare IoT connected devices, where that can be taken to multiple tier 1, tier 2 cities, and we can support their healthcare. So let me just skip it to the final version of this one. So what are the challenges we see currently? So even though we know about there are a lot of stringent laws, stringent regulations has been in place. So where are we currently? Cyber security threat. So we feel that middleman. So when there are a lot of data has been floating around the world, so we feel that how this data can be correctly taken out. So So in internet, so we see that data on fly and data on rest. So I think a lot of people will aware of it. So how we can able to manage it with this? So we have cyber security, DDoS attack management, and this is one of the biggest thing which is currently people are talking about. How we can able to. There are few companies which is helping how we can able to secure this data, especially for the medical record data. There are a few startups has been started already, and they are managing only the healthcare security of it. Okay, make sure that they pass on the data via the security layer, and they'll store completely, and we can able to change it. And compliances. So when you talk about India, we are very strict, and there are few compliance still is not very strict. For example, DPDPA, it's not, there is no there is a regularity, but there is no certification as such. What you have ISO 27000 and ISO 9000, ISO SOC 2 and something like that. We have few places we have only regularity, and that checks how frequently they are doing it. That is also up to the company to manage it. So these things needs to be little stringent so that people can able to use it and effectively, and we can come out of the challenges how we can able to maintain the data. And data breaches, and yes, obviously when we come to everything digital, so we have to bond to this kind of issues, like how there are, even though you have a lot of security, there are few recently there is a cyber attack happens in Uber. So what do you think that Uber is lightly managed the data? Absolutely not, right? So they have a lot of security layers. Still, we can able to bring to beach. So that needs to be, so over the period of time we have to be managing it. We have to accept it when it comes all the data to digital. I think we have to accept that there will be a data breach. Okay, there is a pros and cons, right? So we have to manage it. And only thing is that when the data we store it, we have to make sure that how we can able to exactly de-identify data and store it. And coming to this device vulnerability, and coming to this device vulnerability, few of our speakers was talking about the accuracy of the data. Okay, so that is more important. So that a lot of devices, IoT devices are floating around in the market. So we want to make sure that what are the devices are able to predict the exact data output. Okay, so so I usually used to check with the normal temperature that shows this 36, with 32 or 26 sometimes. But if you go to the older way of thermometer, which have the mercury on it, it gives completely a different result. So I'm so confused, whether I have fever or not, right? So these kind of devices are still not able to get the proper answers. So that is again, it's a problem with how we can able to consider it. So we want to make sure that there should be a proper way of managing this data challenge, especially how you generate data. The devices should be come to a place where there will be a proper regular legal system to manage this data. Quick question. So how many of you are aware of the data, how we can, how many people are started using this ABA? I think very few people, right? Because that is one reason we have to start using it, because so ABA is, I think more some people are aware of it. ABA is one of our initiative of Government of India, where we can able to use it. So when we don't want to carry your digital of the complete bunch of your data everywhere, right? Moving forward, the ABA is a single pane of glass. You can able to see all your records wherever you go. So that is one way we can able to collect and use the particular data, and you can keep your birth record till the end, where you can have a proper way of diagnostics with the help of the data. And with the help of AI, I think it can be also useful how you can utilize the data in a proper way. Thank you.